Good afternoon, everybody. Okay, we have come to the end. Finally, my happiness factor, actually John Tom's happiness factor, it's actually going to infinity now. A few minutes more and I'm free, and I'm giving the key for the next conference to the next ICMF chairman. So I'd like to thank you all for your patience, for being here. For some of you, Brazil is quite far away, especially from you that come from Asia, for instance. That the presence of people from China and from Japan was impressive. Actually, we didn't expect that amount of people from Asia. Thank you very much for being here, for attending this 10th edition of the ICMF, the first in the Southern Hemisphere, which is a sign that our community is really diffusing, increasing in size and in quality. And this is, I believe, that's the main conclusion we have after this very busy week that we had. Okay, so I'd like to show you some data about the conference, some information, perhaps some pictures, and but before, I'd like to thank the coordination of this conference. I'd like to thank Eventus, the company that helped us, Viviani, the owner, and also I'd like to thank Luisa, the representative of the company. Please stand up. Let's thank them for their help. Okay, I'd like to call Professor Gustavo dos Anjos. He's going to make a brief compliment.
Hello, everyone. I'm here on behalf of the organizing committee to thank very much the participation of our students from the Federal University of Rio de Janeiro, the State University of Rio de Janeiro, University of São Paulo, and University of Campinas. So I would like to ask for the students to stand up, please. And thank you very much for your help.
Okay, so let me show you some piece of information here. These are the numbers we have, the consolidated ones. We have had 683 participants, 12 invited speakers, 31 countries represented here, which I believe is quite an achievement, 554 oral presentations and 35 poster presentations. I'd like to point out that actually we offered a stage for every one of you. These posters were actually, the way of presenting the work via posters was actually a choice of the author. Okay, we offered a stage for everyone. In terms of countries and representation in number of participants, this graphic is interesting because it shows not only the countries that joined ICMF 2019, but also some other regions that perhaps should have some attention from our community. We should look for spreading, for diffusing to other countries as well. We can see that here. I'd like to point out the very significant participation of the Brazilian community in this conference. Of course, it's here. We are supposed to have this a big participation, but anyway, this was beyond my expectation. For the Brazilian community, this conference can be a bit expensive, but anyway, I'd like to thank our community for showing up, in this impressive amount. Also, the participation, as I said before, from China, that was really, really impressive. I thank China again for this, for supporting ICMF 2019. And also South America. The multi-phase community in South America is not only Brazil. For instance, we had 10 participants from Colombia. We had participants for even quite small countries like Paraguay, and this is quite nice. And of course, the participation of Europe is always the biggest, and it was again this time. regarding the schematic program, these are all the technical sessions we had in this conference. Very traditional topics like modeling of multi-phase flow or particle-laden flow. This is the number of papers, okay? They had again a very strong participation, but it's interesting to see how diverse multi-phase flow can be. We had a good participation of granular media, and especially I'd like to stress the participation from the heat transfer community that has increased quite a lot since I would say the last two editions, and this time it was very, very impressive. So it's a new community that's actually taking part of ICMF, the heat transfer, the boiling, condensation, evaporation groups, and we are very happy to announce that in this closing ceremony. About the schematic program, then we had on Monday our opening session. It was very successful. Professor Ellen Longmire started the works. I was very, very happy to see that we really had a very big audience from the very start of this conference. Also in this schematic program, we had a tribute to Professor Geoffrey Hewitt that passed away this year, as every one of you know, I'm sure about that, for his incredible contribution to the field. But I would like to also acknowledge that in between ICMF 2016 and 19, we had several losses of very important scientists in our field. I am not going to mention them all, but I'd like to acknowledge Professor Barres Opardi. He was one of the key figures in actually supporting ICMF to go south. And now we are finishing this conference, and his participation for this to be a reality was very, very important. And I had the pleasure to work with him in 2013. I stayed for a few months in his lab in Nottingham, and I'm very thankful for the lessons and the experience I had there. Well, of course, let's talk about the social activities. We had the welcome cocktail. I think that everybody liked the experience of having a cocktail in Barra da Tijuca in Rio de Janeiro in front of the beach. Everybody was happy. We also had the meeting with the editors of ICMF. ICMF is actually trying to be more participative in terms of its cooperation with the ICMF, which I believe that the governing board is quite in favor of. We had the pleasure to talk to all the associate editors of the journal, and also, of course, with the editors-in-chief, Professor Balachandar, and also Professor Soldati. I'm sorry, this is the only picture I could find. I was in a hurry, sorry about that. Okay, we had also the banquet with the Samba Shawl. I believe that most of you like it. Everybody seemed to be happy. Everybody had beers. We had some part of our Brazilian culture there, a little piece of our carnival. So I believe that a good percentage of you are going to be here next year for the carnival in Rio de Janeiro after that. John Tom actually told me not to show these, but I couldn't resist. Sorry, Tom.
He's not here.
That's why I'm showing that, actually. There is a guy here that's very happy. I don't know if you can see this guy here. It's me, okay? I think in the beginning I didn't believe that I couldn't see that working, because this is a mechanical engineering related conference. 90% of the participants are men, I was thinking, hey, we're going to have a kind of a strange situation, men dancing with men, But actually it worked, it worked quite all right. Okay, so that's it. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you again for being here. It was my pleasure to host you. And I hope you enjoyed. I hope that you liked the scientific schematic program that we assembled for you with a lot of effort. And now I'd like to announce the new venue for ICMF 2022. It's my great pleasure to invite the new chairman of this very, very important conference in our field, Professor Akio Tomiyama, the new ICMF 2022 conference chair. He's here, actually. I don't know what Professor Taitel or Browner are thinking about it, but okay. So let's welcome Professor Tomiyama. Sorry about that.
It's okay. It's my usual way. Well, thank you, Oscar. Well, actually, before starting my short presentation of the next meeting, I would like to express our thanks to Oscar. Thank you very much for this nice meeting. Well, well, it's a pleasure and honor to host all of you in the year of 2022 in Kobe from May 29 to June 3rd. So please mark your calendar, and maybe most of you know Kyoto, Nara, Tokyo, but maybe a few knows about Kobe, so that I just make a quick guidance of the Kobe city right now. And actually, Kobe is in the middle of Japan and very close to Kyoto, Nara, Himeji, and Hiroshima, so that if you have a time, don't escape from the conference site, but if you have a time before or after the conference, you can strolling around the very historical point of the Japan. And also, it's very easy to reach Kobe by using three airports. We have Kobe Airport, Kansai Airport, and also Osaka Airport. And of course, you can fly to there by using many airlines. And actually, Kobe is sandwiched, like Rio, we are sandwiched by the mountain and the sea. And from the mountainside, you can have a really nice view, also in the daytime and nighttime. And well, look at that beef, very expensive Kobe beef. Well, actually, I always say that $1 gram costs $1. So